Once again, we are back on PushpalataLearnEd Live Expert Talks. Hi and hello everyone. Happy evening. This is Jude Deva from Pushpalata Vidya Mandir on PushpalataLearnEd Live Expert Talks. I welcome everyone on behalf of Pushpalata Schools. We hope that all are safe and with good health. Stay safe and stay healthy, and don't miss to watch our PushpalataLearnEd Live channel. I know many of us love to hear stories and tales, and many of us have dreams and passion. But does it have any turning points in our life? Does it play a role in our life? So, what are we going to listen and gain this day? Let's listen to our expert, Ms. Janaki Sabesh, actor, storyteller, author, and founder, Golpo Tales, who is here with us on PushpalataLearnEd Live on the topic Tales That Made Me, My Stories of Dreams, Passion, and Encouragement. Stories are Janaki Sabesh's passion, performing, writing, and living them. A graduate in political science with a master's in mass communication in Delhi. She has more than 20 years of experience in the media and communication space as part of Goldwire Communication, JS Films, and Qube Cinema. Janaki's engagement with children began in 1995 when she produced an audio cassette, The Learning Train, that simplified the world of numbers through stories and songs. She founded her storytelling initiative, Golpo Tales Unlimited, in 2014. Golpo, meaning story in Bengali, aimed at taking stories and storytelling to children and adults. A simple question from a child during one of her sessions prompted her to write her first picture book, The Jungle Storytelling Festival, published by Tulika Books, available in 9 languages. Janaki Sabesh believes a story told from the heart will always win more hearts. Hello, ma'am.
Hello, Jude. Thank you.
Hello, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Hi.
Happy to have you on our PushpalataLearnEd live channel, ma'am, Expert Talks. And thank you so much for accepting our invitation, ma'am. I welcome you once again on behalf of Pushpalata Schools, and we request you to take over the session now, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jude. And a very big thank you to Pushpalata ma'am and your amazing institution where you are doing such a wonderful job of, getting so many experts into this kind of, view where you are able to, in these unprecedented times, you are able to interact not just the children, but the parents and also the teachers, the faculty, and trying to figure out, what works, what doesn't work for many people. And thank you for asking me to be a part of this expert talks. I'm extremely happy to share my learnings with all of you. I hope all of you are staying safe and are happy in your own spaces, doing whatever you love. So I'm going to share a presentation which is a peek into what I call my life journey. And I would like to share a few stories. And then, of course, in the end, I'm going to ask you all to, ask me any questions, and I would do the best to answer it. So I'm going to share my screen. So these are the tales that have shaped me, and it's my stories of dreams, passion, and encouragement. So what is it? So that's me. That's a little me. That's my father holding me and my mother holding me. And this is in Kolkata. This is in Calcutta, where I grew up. And my father was someone who, let me keep it on this slide itself. My father worked for a publishing house, book publishing house. So what does that mean? That means that I was surrounded by books. And my father used to take me to this amazing place called Park Street, and we used to go to Oxford Book House and, you know, lots of bookshops where my father had to engage in conversation. And what did he do with me? He used to put me in one corner. I used to, and surround me with books. Books like Amar Chitra Katha books, picture books, and, you know, books that had a lot of pictures in it. So that made me, you know, attract that a kind of, those pictures kind of attracted my attention, and I started immersing myself in these storybooks. So actually what my father was doing, without, I mean, really putting a name to it, was he was raising a reader. Now, raising a reader doesn't mean that I was always reading, but I was intrigued. I was intrigued to find out more. And like all of you know, stories have a beginning, middle, and an end. And if I was in the middle of a book and my father said, it's time to go home, what did I do? I said, Appa, I want this book. Enakku indha book venum. Please, enakku indha book kudunga. Nama indha book vaangin polama. So immediately Appa would say, of course, I will buy that book. He never used to say no. So what did he do? He would go to the counter, pay up, and he started buying books. Now, the ambience at home, it was not just my father, but my mother. She was a voracious reader. Let me go back to the screen. See, that is my Amma. And Amma was, in fact, her English was better than my Appa's. My Appa would actually ask her, in the English word, do you think it fits in here? And my Amma would say, yeah, but 1 minute, let's look at the dictionary. Remember, children and adults, there was no Google, there was no internet, nothing. You had to rely on dictionaries and encyclopedias, and I'm talking about early 70s. And when Appa started asking Amma these questions, and Amma very, very sweetly, she used to say that this sentence is, I think, not right. Appa would sit on the typewriter and he would go tapa, 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 tapa. And, you know, when those memos were written, Amma would come and say, I think you need to rewrite this sentence. And Appa was amazing. He used to say, there was no ego there. He used to immediately understand that she knew better, and he would learn that particular word. He would go onto the dictionary, find the meaning. He would even look at the thesaurus and see what are the other, maybe other words that he could use to, you know, phrase that sentence better. And if he learned a new word, he would make sure that he would use it in that memo. You know, all these letters, internal letters to maybe his own colleagues or letters outside, all these were called memos, you know, in those days. And he would use that particular word, and he would use that word for a handwritten letter also, which he would send to his friend or his brothers who were not in Kolkata. So that is what I meant by growing in an atmosphere which was charged with reading. And I didn't realize how much it would affect me when I would become an adult, but that is what they did. So what else did they do? They raised a reader. Hey, that's me. Can you see that? I think I have a kind of a stick. It's actually a ruler. And I have some papers with me. And this was taken in the balcony of our house. And that is how I was, you know, with a band. And that is someone who I wanted to be. I wanted to be a school teacher. There was a small little slate, and I used to make that a blackboard. And I was forever teaching all those make-believe children. You know, I used to be the class teacher always. And I used to teach come Saturday, Sunday, and I would be teaching some imaginary friends of mine. My father also was raising a drama queen. Now, I've already told you that he was raising a reader. He was raising a drama queen. Now, what do you think is a drama queen? A drama queen is somebody who's like forever doing drama for anything and everything. I want food, I'll do drama. Not really, but I'll tell you how. So Appa was a great storyteller. How was he a storyteller? he would go to office. Like any appa, he would go to office. My mother used to work for my father by, typing those little letters and everything in her spare time. And appa used to, in fact, there was not really office, but he used to go to universities and, other people. He used to have meetings. When he came back, Amma gave him coffee and we would sit down and appa would start telling us the story of what happened right from the fact, from the moment he entered the car and he shut the door and he started driving. He would talk about the traffic on the streets. He would talk about maybe a chat with a police constable, and maybe he had a kullad chai, this small little cutting chai cholluvolla, andha madri oru tea saapten. அந்த டீ டீ சாப்பிட்டா மட்டும் போறாது. அந்த டீல அந்த டீ சாப்பிடும்போது அவங்க பாலிடிக்ஸ் பத்தி பேசினாங்களா, இல்ல ஒரு படத்தை பத்தி பேசினாங்களா, இந்த மாதிரி நிறைய விஷயங்கள் எப்படி கோர்வையா சொல்லுவாரு. That is one beginning, middle and end. So he was an amazing storyteller. And what was Amma? Amma was a fantastic listener. அப்படியா? ஏன்னா ஒரு ஸ்டோரி சொல்லச்ச யாராவது கேட்கணும்ல. So you had a storyteller on one side and you had a listener on the other side. And appa would do lot of drama. He used to play the violin. He used to sing very well. So he will do a lot of drama. Appo enachu theriyuma, அதே டைம்ல இப்படி ஒரு ஜர்னு ஒரு கார் நான் அப்படியே ஜாம் பண்ணி I put on that brakes, full of action, emotion, drama. So how I had no other choice, right? I was growing up with books and I was growing up with drama. So that's it. Anybody who used to ask me to tell me something, especially my party, she'll say, Kanna, enakku oru kadha solriya? Avlodhan. The moment she asked me that, they would all say, Uyuyo, how to make this girl stop, because I used to use the same action, emotion, drama. So there they were, raising a drama queen. But what were they doing? They would also encourage me, saying that, pannu, inda drama pannu, seri, anda paattu paadu. So like any, any household, I was also put in Carnatic music classes. I was learning music. So apart from raising a drama queen, what a dreamer. Now this is my most favorite. What are dreams made of, children? Dreams are something that you want to achieve something. You might want to be somebody. You might want to be somebody who's, who's forever wanting to be in one particular space, or you want to be somebody. So what were they doing? They were asking me to dream, and dream with my eyes open. They were asking me, they were pushing me. And how did they do that? By making me participate in all the competitions. But did they want me to win a prize? No. Appa kept on saying, don't say no to an opportunity. In the party competition, you will get an experience. You will get an experience that will never ever go waste. Then Amma would say, you want to attend this, participate in this elocution competition? Do that. So what did I do? I dressed up as Sarojini Naidu. I still remember. School assembly. First, on the assembly, after I used to sing the prayer song also. So after singing the prayer song, I quickly changed. I wore a sari and I stood like Sarojini Naidu there, and I was, reciting a small little speech that my father helped me. So what did they do? Both Amma and Appa encouraged me in every step of my childhood by saying that, do this. I think this will really help you. Do that. I think you will gain experience. But they would never ask me, prize kachada. They would never ask me that. They would say, did you have a good time? They always wanted to make sure that I had a good time. But how did they make sure that I had a good time? By telling me that when you are talking, when you are on the stage, you have to be only on the stage. Don't think of anything else. Immerse yourself 100% into whatever you're doing. And that is how I started dreaming. My dreams were all goody. I wanted to drive a car. I wanted to do maybe paint. I wanted to write poetry, goody things. But I started definitely to dream. And what did they do? They shaped my passions and whatever little by encouraging me every step. They would always ask me, do you want to do something like this? And there was always music at home. There was always drama. My father would play the violin and lot of things. In fact, let me tell you a story. Appa, every Sunday, we were on the first floor, and every Sunday a man would come, an old man, wearing a kind of a light rust kind of a shirt, and he used to play the violin, and he used to play the violin, a typical Hindi song from a Hindi film, and he used to play the violin. My appa would remove his violin, and he would take that violin and he would rush downstairs, and this man actually played the violin, and people used to give him some money. He used to go from building to building, just play, and he really played the violin very well. And what did my appa do? He would take the violin, he would go down, and he would start almost like a jugalbandi. Nee vasikriya, naan vasikriya. And both of them would start playing the violin. It showed me that Appa had so much of happiness, so much of joy in whatever he did. In fact, he was so kind that Appa I know that he used to, it was not just the money that he gave this man, it was also the company that he gave this man, and they both played this violin, and it used to be so beautiful. And my little self, I must have been 6 or 7 years old. I still remember watching from that window of our home, of that bedroom, looking at these two, and everybody in that little area, all the other houses, they used to come on their veranda and look at this amazing jugalbandi, and they used to actually clap, man. My father was so thrilled, and I'm sure, unfortunately, I don't remember that uncle's name, but that is how, that kindness. And sometimes Amma used to make coffee and give it to this uncle also. So I was looking at kindness. I was looking at something that, they were not teaching me, sitting down and teaching me. I was just looking at them, and I was so happy to to see that they were so kind, and they were so giving. So what did they do actually, as far as my career or my interests were concerned? Look at this image. This image is the Chinese description of listening, to listen. It's called ting. Now, if you see, you not only listen with your ears, but you also listen with your eyes, and you listen with undivided attention, and most importantly, you listen with your heart. And that is exactly what my parents did. My parents listened to me. Sometimes, your child, these are for the parents, the child is constantly telling you something, but by not really telling you, but maybe there are some certain signs that you need to pick up. The child is constantly saying, or sometimes they're actually saying it. So how do they listen to me? I wanted to do science. But what did I do? From science, I jumped to political science, because I was very good in science in school. In fact, I thought I wanted to become a doctor. So we had dissection and all in 11th and 12th. I dissected frog, and I was very good at it. I got good marks also, but somewhere my interest in science kind of wavered, and then I went on to join a prestigious college in Delhi, Lady Shri Ram, and I went into political science. So what did my parents do? My parents didn't pressurize me. They didn't say, no, you've done science, you have to do science, this is what you have to do, blah, blah, blah. My father said, you want to be in this college? I said, yes. And I had to jump from science to arts. And he said, absolutely no problem. My mother was full. She says, yes. I mean, she was more She was very happy because she was, at some point of time, she had told my father, I want my daughter to do an ME. Maybe she had not done an ME, so maybe she wanted me to do. But I remember this ME was continuously ringing, but there was no pressure. Political science, and I loved that subject, and I had such a great time in this college. And after that, what did I do? I an MA in mass communication. So if you see, it is from science to political science to mass communication. And that is what I think made me become the person that I have become, of varied experiences. Most of the times, you know, when you are young, sometimes you're very, very sure that this is what you want to do. But in my case, I was kind of sure, but maybe not so sure also. And my parents supported me. They said, it's okay. You want to do whatever you want to do, but immerse yourself 100%. And that's exactly what we did with our daughter. That's me and my daughter many, many years ago. And what did we do? Well, she wanted to be a reader, which we raised a reader because we had, you know, surrounded the house with books. But she's also a writer. She started writing beautifully because she attended workshops, and you know, I just absolutely loved the way she wanted to just write. And what did she do? She also wanted to go into nanomedicine. So we said, all right. So she is going to become, maybe she's going to go abroad and maybe do some research in nanotechnology. And but then she loved the media. There was because of a media house coming to her school and selecting her to do some kind of a little documentary. She fell in love with media. And now, what is she doing? She is in the food space. She's in the food space because she's a brand strategist in the food space, and she loves it. She was always interested in food. So which is why I said there is no compartment. Creativity knows no boundaries. As and when you grow up, some children want to go this way, that way. Your priorities change. You might want, there are certain things that you love doing when you are a child, and then when you become a teenager, you want to do something else. And then when you are an adolescent, when you are a young adult, you want to do something completely different. And if parents understand that there is something called creativity in their children, and they seem to really, but children at the same time, you have to really want to do it. You have to really want to do it. And that's when your parents will actually get convinced that this is what my child wants to do. So why am I telling you all this? I'll show you. I am an actor. This is a still from Gilly, one of the movies that I'm known for, because I think it was a comedy. So I love this part of me, this amazing part where I can become somebody else's mother and mouth dialogues and set vision to somebody else's story. I play somebody else totally, and I mouth dialogues and I become that person while I'm acting. And then a storyteller where I'm the monkey, I'm the crocodile. அந்த crocodile என்ன பண்ணித்து, அந்த monkey என்ன பண்ணித்து அப்படின்னு கேட்டாலே நான் அப்படியே அந்த monkey ஆயிடுவேன். ஆனா கில்லில என்னது, விஜயோட அம்மாவா, ஏண்டா என்னடா பண்ணிருக்கே, இதுல ஏதோ ஒன்று குறையுதேன்னு அந்த டைலாக் சொல்லிட்டு இருப்பேன். ஆனா ஸ்டோரி டெல்லர் போது அந்த ஒரு I will be enacting that role. Then as a theater person, theater, again it's the same thing. You are either doing a monologue or maybe even a stand-up comedy. Ella genres I have dabbled with all these genres, and I have my parents to thank because they are the ones who pushed me to say, don't say no to an opportunity. ஒரு opportunity வருதா, ஒரு படத்துல நடிக்கணும்னு சொல்ற, போய் நடி, அதுல ஒரு experience வரும். Storytelling, of course, that has been maybe a recent, when I started forming my own company, and That's my book, The Jungle Storytelling Festival. And I think this caricature clearly shows all the things that, I'm fond of, which is singing, the mic, which, tells that, I love speaking into the mic, either the stories or sharing my personal journey, and those lights that you can see, the lights which actually symbolize, the acting career, the screen lights. So how do I do it? It's because I think of a lot of encouragement. Now, what is this? Why am I showing you this photo again? This was a dream, right? I told you that I wanted to be a school teacher, but then I went into a corporate job. I did mass communication, I did acting, I did theater, I did voice artist, so many things. But then when you really want to do something, it keeps coming back. And how did it come back? So last year, I joined the Chennai Business School as a faculty member, and I run a course called Lead Yourself Through Storytelling. So through storytelling, I teach the students there how to tell your story better. What are the different elements of storytelling that you can use for corporate, your business, whatever it is. So that was one dream come true. Now, it's not just the only dream, right? I had another dream. And this dream is of me riding a cycle. But you think this, I can drive a car, but a cycle? I want to show you something. Just look at this. I'm going to play something for you.
ਉਹ ਤੈਨੂੰ ਹੋਰ ਕੁਝ ਨਹੀਂ ਲੱਭਾ ਟੀਪੂ ਓ ਟੀਪੂ ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਿੱਥੇ ਮਰ ਗਿਆ ਟੀਪੂ
मैंने पंचर नहीं किया।
तू बाहर आ
दादी दादी प्लीज नहीं दादी।
अरे चल चुपचाप डरपोक कहीं का
गिरने से बहुत चोट लगेगी।
ओ कुछ नहीं होगा बुद्धू मैं कह रही हूँ ना।
दादी कल
चल ओ चल।
हाँ लेकिन साइड वाले पहिए भी नहीं है दादी।
अरे पैर तो है ना पुत्र। हाँ
दादी प्लीज मत चलाओ गिरोगे तो बहुत चोट लगेगी।
ये पकड़ चल मार धक्का।
नहीं दादी।
ओ तेरे की मैं बल्ले बल्ले कराती थी।
अच्छी सेहत से जिंदगी में थोड़ी और जिंदगी भर लो लाइफ टू द फुलेस्ट।
So I wanted to share that that dream is not something that I have forgotten, and there's a lot of time for me to still achieve that dream. That dream has been parked in a corner because I have not forgotten. And dreams which don't allow you to forget is something that is very, very precious. So who I am today of the dreams and the passion is because my parents listened to me. My parents encouraged me. And my parents were really enthusiastic. You know, both of them were so, நீங்க சொல்ற மாதிரி entu patani. அப்படியே, you know, if I came back and, you know, they were also ready to listen to my story. எப்படி அப்பா ஆஃபீஸ் இருந்து திரும்பி வந்ததும் கதை சொல்லறத வந்து நான் அப்படி கேட்பேனோ அதே மாதிரி தான் when I came back from school, you know, they were willing to listen to me, and I did the same for my daughter. When she came back from school, we listened, because maybe there are certain things that you don't have to say it in, you know, words. Sometimes you just need to be there for your children to just see what it is, you know, what it is that they really want. So it's because of their listening, their encouragement, and the enthusiasm that I am what I am today. And See this picture. That's me now. I showed you a young me, and that's me now with all the love of children who are so happy just listening to stories and just listening to so many things that whatever, whether it's the Lion and the Mouse or whether it's a serious story, whatever it is, they just give me all their time and all their undivided attention. And so, thank you so much for listening. So I'll stop the presentation, but I'll continue speaking. Okay, so as I was telling you that I absolutely adored this, this journey of discovering myself. Why am I saying discovering myself? Or when we come back, when your parents come back from office, and especially in the pandemic where everybody is working from home, sometimes you get very, very annoyed. இவ்ளோ கூட தெரியலையா, ஒரே ஒரு லேப்டாப்பை வந்து எனக்கு வேணும் அந்த மாதிரி சில விஷயங்கள் இருக்கு, எல்லாமே it is in the screen. அப்போ என்ன, what gives you most joy? There must be something, there must be some activity, maybe listening to music or listening to podcasts or just reading. Those are the kind of things that we really, really need to indulge in. And I did that. So my father, once when I was, there were these broken pieces of plastic which I had got from some factory visit from our school. And with that, I made something, a small little artwork, and I put it on in our drawing room. I got some Fevicol or something, and I put it up. And my father was thrilled. He asked me, "What is this, Janaki?" So I said, Appa, I gave him some story. I said, this is the way, you have this way to achieve success. Something I told him. This was, I think, when I was in class 10 or 11. He was so thrilled. He was so happy with the kind of, explanation I gave. He started telling everybody, hey, come see what Janaki has said. And anybody who came home, he used to ask me to, share that story. So what it did was, it totally, I lost that fear, the fear of speaking to people, the fear of being me. I was so happy. I knew that I was not being judged. So sometimes, this creativity comes in all. Did I want to be an actor? Many of you might wonder, oh, she wanted to be an actor. No, acting was not at all in my scheme of things. It's just that I remember my father told me, never say no to an opportunity. That is what I did. When somebody asked me, when Mr. Rajiv Menon asked me, would you like to act in a film? I didn't say no, because I said, I'm sure I will be richer by that experience. I'm sure I will learn something. I already knew about filmmaking because of my master's in mass communication. But I said, let me go and figure out what it is. And I learned so much. I love meeting people. I love talking to people. And that is when I realized, my God, so much of effort, right? So much of effort for just one scene, a scene where I might just come and go. But it takes so much time, and you start appreciating all the hard work. So, never say no to an opportunity has always been my mantra, and it's been something that I hold very, very dear to. So let me tell you a story. This is the story when Buddha was still, he had not yet attained Nirvana. He was still going around as Siddhartha, and he was very, very upset. He was trying to find out, answers to all the problems in the world. Why do people die? Why are people unhappy? And he was just not getting answers. And finally, he came to a lake, and he was very, very tired, and he decided to splash that water in his face. And as he did that, he found something very strange. It was a squirrel. The squirrel was coming and was having a nut. And suddenly, the nut fell into the lake. And after that, something happened which shocked Gautam Buddha completely. The squirrel went inside the water, came out and shook herself, and again went and shook herself, and there were just drops of water that was falling. Buddha could, he was very, very curious to know what she was doing, and he asked, "What are you doing?" And she said, "Well, can't you see? I am emptying the water from this lake." He laughed. He said, "You mean to say you are going to empty the lake? I mean, whatever for?" She said, "That's because my nut has fallen inside and I need to, get back the nut." And he said, "You think that's possible? That's even possible that you're going to empty the entire lake? I mean, look at you." And that's when the squirrel said, "Well, at least I'm trying." That was a powerful message, that at least she was trying. And that actually changed the way Buddha looked at his own understanding of a lot of things, and the fact he drew inspiration from this little squirrel, thinking that he was not trying hard enough. It is said that after that, he actually sat under a tree and he thought hard, and that's how the teachings of Buddhism, of all that, that he thought and people practice, came about. So sometimes in life, we give up very easily. "Oh, I'm not in the samvarliya." Totally. "Oh, it's like me, giving up the, learning cycling. Maybe I have given up multiple times. I need to try harder to achieve that dream of mine." Most of the time we give up because we think we are not good. But we are controlled by this mind here. That's, if only we have, even if we think like that, what if we have our parents and our friends pushing, say, no, you're just limited by your thoughts, you can't do it, come on. Maybe you have to deliver a speech on a Zoom call, which is what we are all doing, right? We have to deliver a speech to hundreds and hundreds of fellow students, and you are scared, you are very nervous. It's absolutely fine. You will be nervous. You have to be nervous, because otherwise you'll go to the other spectrum, which is overconfident. And you continue, because every time, children, before I go for any storytelling session, whether it is virtual or whether it's physical, face-to-face, I'm always nervous. And it's a good thing, because when you're nervous, you know that you need to give in your best. So whether it's, what if I forget the dialogues? Forget the dialogues. You can't pressurize yourself. You will say, okay, I have forgotten the dialogues. Let me try and be calm just before the talk, or just before the theater production, or just before a monologue. Just be calm. It'll all come back to you. It's like that examination. Examination, you'll think, I've forgotten everything. I've learned everything. I remember doing this sum, and when you are in front of that examination, in the hall, you suddenly blank. But then it'll all come back to you. It'll all come back to you because you have put in your effort. Now, all these words of encouragement, enthusiasm, everything, only that is not important, right? We also need to put in our effort. Where is our effort then? I mean, our parents are saying, all right, fine, you do whatever you want, but you can't say, no, I'll do this today, I'll do that tomorrow, I'll do that some. You have to be consistent. You have to say, this is what I want to do, and this is, you should feel very, very strongly about whatever you want to do. And that is when I think we really, really succeed in whatever we want to. We put our minds and we put our thoughts, because it's not just the intent. I want to be someone is always a good thing. I want to be someone, but not putting in any effort. How is that going to be possible, right? So we need to make sure that, our parents, if your parents are not convinced, you will have to convince them. You'll have to tell them how badly you want to do something. And for parents, let's listen to them. No? Let's listen, because maybe there is a spark. I had a friend who was a chartered accountant, but who joined the mass communication course because he said, I don't want to be an accountant. I want to be a camera person. I want to shoot films. And everybody said, really? You want to, in those days it was unheard of. But now we see people who are in the software, suddenly they turn photographer because that is their innermost calling. That is what they really want to do. They also like doing whatever they're doing in office, but they're not stifling. They're not saying that I'm not going to look at my passion. So many people have started cooking. They've had their own small little bakeries and everything in this lockdown time, right? People who didn't even go to the kitchen, they found that their innermost happiness was in, making those really nice, tasty cakes for all the people, their family and friends. And suddenly they've put a name and that's it. Finally, they've become this amazing baker. And somebody was painting. Somebody said, I'm going to sing a cover of a very, very famous track. So these are the little things. But remember, all these things will happen only if you start listening to yourself. You listen and you say, what is it that I really want to do? And that is why I wanted to share my tales that shaped me, my appa's encouragement, my mother's constant listening, and making sure that, there were days when I used to come back and I say, I don't want to do this. And that's when my mother used to say, that's okay. You don't want to do it? Think about it. You don't have to take a decision today. Even mass communication and all was very tough. My first job was very tough, but I had constant support from my family saying that, no, it's okay. You don't want to do it. Think about it, but don't take a hasty decision. And that is why these tales, these kuti tales have shaped me to the person I am today. So thank you so much for patiently listening to my tales that have shaped me. And I'm ready to take on, answer all your questions now.
Hello, ma'am. That was so nice to listen to the tales which made you. And there are questions.
Sure.
Shall we start the Q&A session, ma'am?
Please.
So you do so many things. Can you tell us how to manage our time properly?
Okay, so I think when I am acting, I can't be thinking of, oh my God, I have to tell a story session in that school. When I'm acting, I'll have to listen to my director. And when he says, Janaki, look into the screen here and then tell this dialogue to this person, and this is what your actions are, I'll have to listen to him. So only if I do that, if I immerse myself 100% in what I am doing, I can do that. But if I'm like, here and I'm thinking about, oh God, what do I do when I go back home? What is it that, if my mind wanders away, I think I need to bring back the mind. So I think immersing yourself 100% is what I have. It's not easy. It's not easy. And I won't say I'm an expert at it, but I try to immerse myself, especially when I'm giving a shot. Remember in a film shoot, there are so many people there. So many people, your co-actors, there's a cameraman, there is a sound person, so many people, you have to focus. I think that is what you need to do. Focus on what you're doing at that moment and just be mindful of what you're doing. I think that helps me to, do a particular activity, whatever activity it is, even being a mother,
Okay, that was so nice to hear, ma'am. Okay, which field do you like the most? Acting, writing, or storytelling?
Oh, I like all of them. I'll tell you why. Acting, I am somebody else's mother, right? I'm able to portray some other character, something that might be very, very contrary to what I am, who I am. But it's so much fun. No, you get to play somebody else's mother. You get to play some other character. So I love acting because of that. Storytelling, I love telling stories because first of all, I read that story, I learn it, and I have to understand. I become the story. I become the lion, and suddenly with the mouse, I suddenly become this squirrel. I do, especially for children, and then of course for elders also. And I love immersing myself into the story because I get instant reaction, right? In Padatlela, I don't even know whether people have liked my acting or not, but storytelling la, I immediately get. And writing, writing is a discipline. Every day, I can't say that I want to write many books. If you want to write, you have to sit down and write. Like how every cricketer practices, no? He has to practice, right? He has to do his net practice. Any sport for that matter. Writing is also same. You have to sit and write. So I have written a lot in this lockdown. In fact, my daughter and I have co-authored a book, which hopefully next year it will get published. So I'm very excited about that. And I'm starting to write another book now. So those, and I've been writing kuti stories. I've been writing stories for performing. So I like all of it. There's no favorite.
Okay. And what is your one favorite book? Your favorite.
One favorite book illa. Konjo, different genres like see, children, I love picture books. Picture books is not just for children, okay? Picture books is for adults also. When you are feeling very restless and all, just pick up a picture book. This is for parents also. You will find it so amazing. You'll really find it relaxed. So in books, I love Liberation of Sita by Volga. I like Chitra Banerjee Devakunni's Forest of Enchantments, Jhumpa Lahari's Interpreter of Melodies, and in children's books, Ruskin Bond. I love Blue Umbrella. I love Roald Dahl's of Big Friendly Giant. So the list is long.
What or who is your inspiration or role model?
Inspiration, definitely it's my father and mother, because they were, I think they taught me by being very, very simple. They just, they just taught me to just be myself. I never wanted to become somebody else. So I think my biggest inspiration are my parents and my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law who is such a vibrant, she's 92 years old, but her memory is intact. You ask her any song, any lyrics, and patak comes the answer. And her zest for life. She asks me every day about the corona numbers, So I think these are the people who really inspire me.
That was so awesome, ma'am. And what is your one piece of advice for students to achieve in their field of interest? In a line, how will you?
Okay, whatever your line is. I mean, some people now coding is such a big word. There are software is a big word. Why? Somebody could be. I know you're stuck right now at home, but you might be wanting to be a sports person. Whatever it is, don't give up. We give up very easily. Either we'll go to the next. Don't do that. If you really want to do, it's like becoming a teacher. It'll come back to you. I always wanted to be a storyteller, and I remember 20 years back in some workshop I've written, I want to be a storyteller, and I'd conveniently forgotten about it. But see how it has its own ways of coming back, but you really need to be at it. You need to continuously, you shouldn't shut it. You shouldn't shut it and, put it in Bay of Bengal. You should keep it with yourself, and it'll come back to you, and keep at it. Keep at it, and you will definitely succeed.
Next question. What is the one characteristic of yours that contributed to your success?
Never saying no to an opportunity.
Okay. Yeah, as you said.
Yeah, somebody asks me to say, come, can you model for us? I didn't want to be a model, but when they asked me, I said no. So I went ahead and I modeled for a few ads, and that continues. Acting, storytelling, everything, but my heart should be in it. If I don't, if I don't feel comfortable doing something, I won't do it. So I think immersing yourself 100% and never say no, but also being comfortable counts.
And here's another question from the student. How do you remember so many stories?
Okay, so any story has a beginning, middle, and end. So what I do is I will have key points. So very recently I was asked to do a storytelling on Srinivasa Ramanujan. Now, Srinivasa Ramanujan, I did my own research. I spoke to the author of the book and we had a nice conversation. She sent me lots of material. So I do a lot of research on the book. So when you do the research, you will find certain things that are not in the book also. And you will start, making your own little beginning, middle, and end. And what do? You live with that story. If I'm going to do a storytelling session, it's not like I can read the previous day and tell it the next day. That's not possible. At least for me, it's not possible. I'll have to, read that book, reread that book, reread that book again and again, and and also discover if Srinivasa Ramanujan was from Kumbakonam, find out Kumbakonam anga enna irukum, Kaveri, what was the river like, what was the atmosphere like, அந்த காலத்துல எப்படி இருந்தாங்க, அவ அம்மா கோலம் போடச்ச Srinivasa Ramanujan, was he seeing all these little things? No, you have to ask the question why. So I think when you keep asking why, you will certainly, the story will become a part of you. And that's how I remember the stories. Just like all of you remember your, very, very important and favorite books. All of you remember, right? Appas, Ammas, Kuttis, all of you. Just like that, I also remember the stories.
Okay, and here's a question from a student, like, how can we improve reading skills? By reading. I am guilty of not reading that much, especially during this lockdown time. So what did I do? I also started subscribing to apps like Storyteller and Spotify and podcasts, Hubhopper. So I start also listening to a lot of, when you don't have the time to read, but that's not applicable for children, you please pick up that book, because I'll tell you something. When you pick up that book, and you start saying that I'll just read 2 pages. If the book is interesting and your interest is also there, you will never put that book down. You will put that book down and suddenly you say, oh, that's the end of the book. And it takes you into that, if it's fiction, it takes you into that fantasy world. If it's biopic, you're more interested in what happened to this person next and why did he do what he did. But for that, you need to pick up that book and read. Take that little baby step. If you're not reading enough, this is the time. Start reading, because it opens up, different doors in your mind, and it is so beautiful. You don't have to go anywhere. Just sit with the book, but please read. Just pick up that book and read. The next question, how did you think of the name Golpo Tales? Okay, so as Jude said in the beginning, Golpo means story in Bengali. And I told you that I grew up in Kolkata. So I'm very, very fond of Kolkata. And there are very, 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 very happy memories of my childhood associated with that city. And my father was a great storyteller. And it all happened in Calcutta. And of course, then I went to Delhi and Bombay, blah, blah, blah. All that happened. But how could I not keep my initiative Golpo? Because it's like going back to my roots, going back to my childhood. And that is why I called it Golpo. Are your storybooks based on real life or imagination? So the one that I'm writing now is based on real life. Part fiction, part real life. But the one that I've already published, which is the Jungle Storytelling Festival, that is, of course, fiction. It's for children, 4+, and it's about an ostrich who stammers and is unable to tell his story in the Jungle Storytelling Festival. That's the name of the book. It's a picture book for children. Okay. The last question, of all the experiences you have been through, can you recollect a favorite moment? At once, suddenly when you think of it, one of the favorite moments strikes your mind.
Yeah, so I have
So,
two. I have one from my acting
okay.
career and one from my storytelling. So the first acting is Jeans, when we were shooting in, I think, Arakonam, no, Ambattur railway station, I think we were. And Shankar sir was there, and I was with S.V. Shekhar sir, Lakshmi Amma, Prashant, Nazar sir, everybody. And I had to do a very, very comedy scene, you know, all that I had to do. And it was just my second movie, and I was very, very, you know, nervous and all. Shankar sir came and he told me, Janaki, you don't realize the potential of this scene. Everybody is going to laugh in the cinema hall when this, you know, when this movie releases, and this particular scene. And I said, okay, sir, you know, because see, that is why a director's vision is so powerful, right? He has the whole movie in his head. But what are we? We are all actors, and we only act our part, right? So I said, okay, sir, and I gave my best shot. And when, after the film released, I watched it with all my friends, I saw the entire theater laughing, and I was so happy that, you know, people were laughing because of my dialogues and, you know, the way it was delivered, and full marks to the director. So that was it's a very, very special moment for me, because I saw the audience reacting the way they did. Then to go to my storytelling career, this happened a few years back, and I had in Chennai, there's a place called Hippocampus. There was a place called Hippocampus, and I had just finished telling my story. And a little child came up to me. Her name is Shravya, and she hugged me and she said, very nice story, auntie. And she gave me a chocolate. And I said, why is this? She said, it's my birthday. I'm giving you a chocolate. I said, oh, happy birthday, Shravya. I took the chocolate and I said, I don't eat chocolates, but I'll give this chocolate to my daughter who's at home. Her face became, I thought there was a little hint of disappointment. And then we, of course, went away and it was forgotten. 3 weeks later, in the same place, I had another session and Shravya was there again. And this time, after the session, she came running with a little bag, which was a little heavy. And she said, this is for you. I said, what is it? I opened and it was an orange. I was so touched, because the mother said that because you said that you will not be eating chocolate, she remembered. And she came back with an orange for you. This moment, I get goosebumps every time I talk about this, because that shows that children always listen, you know. It's not just the story that they are listening to, it's everything else around it also. If you're telling something, it goes into their heart and it settles down in a corner, and it's always, they always remember it. So these two are very, very close to my heart.
So nice talking with you. And your final words for teachers?
I take this opportunity to say a big thank you to all the teachers, because I know that it is not an easy job. See, as a storyteller, when I see children, it's only for that 1 hour or 1.5 hours, or even if I'm doing workshops, but you do it day in and day out. And now, especially at these times, when we are all locked in a screen, but you have not stopped teaching. You're continuously teaching. You have your curriculum to complete. You have, so what I really admire in each one of you is that attitude that, you know, I need to make sure that my children understand what they're doing, and I know the kind of efforts that each one of you. So a big, big thank you straight from my heart to your hearts for doing what you're doing, because it's not easy. In fact, I've had several conversations with Pushpalata ma'am, and the clarity of thought. I mean, there's so many things that I understood, you know, just in our conversation. So I was like, wow, what an amazing thing, you know. And when you have such a clear mind, you know, you're able to tell your children also with so much clarity. And see, we don't realize, you know, the importance of teachers when we are students. But now you know that more than any time, there are so many WhatsApp groups of all the children who passed out and who are all now in big high positions, and all of them are messaging, oh, do you remember our favorite that teacher, chemistry teacher, physics teacher, oh, your PT master, or this one, that one, you're constantly, why do they remember? Because the teachers make you feel that way. They make you feel special. All of us have special teachers. All of us have special memories, So I would say a very big thank you to all the teachers for creating those memories for us. Even to this day, September 5th, I call 2 of my professors. One professor in mass communication and one professor from Lady Shriram, because if it had not been for their encouragement, I would not even have considered communications as a subject to do my MA in. So for me, I always hold that dear. And for me, Teachers' Day is, of course, so important. And why just Teachers' Day? We need to celebrate teachers every day. And thank you. Thank you, teachers, for doing what you do, because I know it's not easy. And doing that with a smile, absolutely brilliant. So a big round of applause for all the teachers who are watching this. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Now, let me call upon my colleague, Mr. Sriram, to give the vote of thanks. Nice talking with you, ma'am.
Thank you, Jude. Thank you so much.
Every thought you produce, anything you say, any action you do, it bears your signature. Thank you for the wonderful and engaging session, ma'am. From knowing you as a loving on-screen mom to now knowing your other dimension as a storyteller, writer is fascinating, ma'am. On behalf of Pushpalataschools and Pushpalata Vidya Mandir, thank you so much, ma'am, for spending your valuable time with us. We will dare to dream and pursue our passion. Thank you so much, ma'am. And also we thank Collins Books for arranging the resource person. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yeah, and thank you so much for to Collins and Pushpalata Vidya Mandir for giving me an opportunity to share my thoughts with all of you. Thank you so much.
So, my dear students and parents, so you are watching PushpalataLearnEd live channel. If you like this video, just give a thumbs up and subscribe to PushpalataLearnEd live channel. And this is Sriram and Mr. Jude signing off. Take care. Bye-bye.